Now broadcasting from the Next Gen Conservative Studio in sunny South Florida, bringing you the latest in politics, current events, and pop culture. This is the Whitfield Report with Sam Whitfield.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the Whitfield Report. I am your host, Sam Whitfield, broadcasting here live from NGC Studios here in South Florida, and I want to thank everyone for joining me here tonight, wherever you are in the past, present, future hour, if you're listening to this on the podcast and or watching on Spotify or wherever else you're listening. And folks, we are live on Odyssey as well. So yeah. Thanks everyone for watching. There seems to be like a weird red tint on Odyssey. Not sure what that is about, but anyway. Oh, there we go. But anyway. Yes, thank you all for joining me during tonight's broadcast. We're going to be covering Russia and a lot of the Ukraine stuff on tonight's show. And we do have a guest joining us on tonight's stream. Black Pill Phil from Versa News Media, Real News, will be joining us. He usually co-hosts that show on Saturdays with Sean and Alex, but they've been running late the last couple weeks, so I invited Phil on to join me, and so it looks like he just popped up here in chat. Also, shout out to our own chat, Vigilante Williams, and hail, brother. I need to DM you after the show because I'd like to get you on this stream to promote your own channel here soon. But at any rate, let me bring Phil on here and we will start discussing this Ukraine business. So anyway, Phil, how you doing, man? Welcome to the show.
Not bad, not bad. How you doing?
Good. So just kind of a quick overview, since I know we have some new viewers to the program. Would you mind just briefly giving some background as to who you are? And I know you've got some military background, which is partially why I wanted to bring you on the show.
Yeah. Well, as you said before, I do the Versa Media podcast about the same time that you do. Before I did this, before we met, I was a 15-year Army veteran. Well, I mean, I'm always a veteran, but and I deployed and did a little this and that. And I met you when I wouldn't say meet, but like when I was at Penn State. Well, actually, when the Versa Media guys and I were at Penn State. And yeah, I guess we just kind of hit it off. Like it was just like a real, like at first it was just like we're just shooting the shit, and then it was just kind of grew from there. Yeah, but what about this freaking this Ukraine mess? I mean, what can you say? What could you say? What can you say?
Well, you're the Army veteran, so
Yeah.
This is specifically why I wanted to bring you on, because like I have all these armchair quarterbacks who have no military experience, like Ben Shapiro was saying, oh, we should do this, we should do that with Ukraine. I think we need to go in.
See right away. So right away, and you already know how I am, but like for the people listening, the second this whole mess was kicking off, I had to do my research. Like, I had to do my research about this subject. There was no way in hell you were going to get me to just blindly follow what CNN, MSNBC, Fox News was saying. So I would go out, I had to, I had to watch RT, right? I had to watch WION. I had to, look on YouTube, look on, with Zero Hedge and Unusual Whales and like some of those other Twitter news sites. I tried to get as much information as I humanly could, because I felt like out of all of those media sources that I looked up, that I was doing my research with, it felt like, the American mainstream media gave me the least amount of information out there. And of course, I mean, we already know that, but like, it was just staggering how little information they shared, versus most of the other outlets. Even France 24 was informative too. I mean, they all had, and keep in mind, they all have their bias. Like, every one of those places had their bias, but at least with most of the other ones that weren't American, you got a lot of information out of it. So,
Right. Well, and the thing that's even weirder to me, Phil, is the fact that, like, uh, as near as I can tell, and this is, I mean, I guess I shouldn't be too surprised by by the American media at this point, because nothing should shock me. But even so, it was okay. The number one thing that I heard from a lot of, like, I guess normies slash liberals was, well, Putin wouldn't be invading Ukraine if Trump was tough with him, and Trump was sucking Putin's dick, and now this is the result. And I'm like, what the fuck does this have to do with Trump
no,
at
I mean,
all?
this is probably, I would argue the opposite. I'm like, I mean, I would venture to say that Putin would not have invaded Ukraine if Donald Trump was still president. I could make that argument. And there's a couple of reasons. Well, one, okay, obviously, Biden. I mean, what can you say about that guy? He should be in an old folks home.
Yeah, seriously, and I don't know you. I know that you and I like to crack jokes, but I have said that honestly, Biden has dementia or something. He's not mentally well. He doesn't even know where he is half the time. So, when he's talking about Ukraine, like, I don't know you, but I don't want Grandpa Herman to have, to have his hand over the nuclear button if it comes down to that. So
yeah, that's terrifying. And like, not only that, like, he's just weak in general. Like, and Putin smells it. Like, this is a guy who lives for this sort of action. He's very military intel, like, very intelligent. And yes, he is intelligent. Like, people gave Trump shit for saying that he's a genius, and they're like, oh, you see, he's a Russian asset. No, Putin is a fucking genius, right? He is an extremely intelligent person. He might not be we could, if you want to argue if he's evil or not, that's a completely different
right.
subject. But he is absolutely intelligent. He is highly intelligent, and he absolutely, and you have to tread lightly with Putin, because he definitely, he plays a lot of smoke and mirrors. Like, he definitely plays the smoke and mirrors game. So there's that, you know, So you had like one of the things that Trump did that was effective, that was extremely effective, was he was unpredictable. Like you when you don't know what your enemy is up to, you have to play the full scope of the field, and that is
Yeah.
incredibly difficult. That is an incredibly difficult way to defend your country. And I mean, he knew it. Like Trump again. Like I feel like Trump was just miles ahead of Biden. I mean, that's an extremely low bar, but he's
Yeah.
like miles ahead. And I, I don't know where this is headed, but if it's anything like the last couple of days,
Well, so here's my other question for you. I guess. I mean, I kind of have theories on my own, but my question is, and I guess everyone's question is, why Ukraine? Why would Putin invade Ukraine, and why now? It doesn't make. I mean, I guess the only
I mean,
valid excuse that I can see is, he wants more power, but it's like,
but
okay, why not do that 10 years ago when Obama was president,
yeah. So I mean, there's a couple plausible answers. I mean, I don't think anybody's really going to concrete know why Putin is doing what he's doing, but a couple of things. One would be he he wants to bring back the Soviet territories. Like he wants to bring back all the Soviet territories, or as many as he possibly can.
But
And Ukraine was a big one, right? That was a
right.
big one. And they were, that was like home of the majority of Russia's nuclear arsenal at one point, right? And like they were a very powerful nation, you know, before, I mean, yeah, and you could venture, and the other thing would be global positioning. Like for him, it'd probably be global positioning because when you take away, if you put Ukraine back in Russian control, then they're no longer surrounded from a territorial standpoint.
Right.
So like I mean that's something, and again, that's why I felt like why Putin went in. And I mean, that the whole situation's a mess. Ukraine, both East and West, is a mess. The leadership for the last 8 years, even beyond that, has been a freaking mess. Just riddled with scandals, corruption, like all kinds of craziness. But I think the main thing is, it's like he doesn't want to be cornered. He doesn't want to be surrounded and completely like back against the wall or border against the wall kind of thing. So, like people are saying, "Oh, he's nuts," and I'm like, I mean, it depends on what you mean by the term nuts.
Well,
Like,
he might very well be, but just because you're nuts, and going back to what you said earlier, okay, let's say that he is nuts. Nuts does not necessarily mean that someone is stupid. And look, when people were like, oh well, Trump's saying he's a genius. Oh, he's simping for Putin. He's sucking Putin's dick. That's always what I used to hear. And it's like, well, no, he's just acknowledging. The other thing that people forget about Putin, and as someone who has kind of studied the history of spycraft and whatnot, Putin was a high level operative in the KGB for like the last, decade of the Cold War, and in the 80s. And you don't survive the KGB without being, I guess, somewhat smart, and having like
absolutely.
some.
Absolutely. I mean, I was getting this week because I'm, me, I say whatever the hell's on my mind on Twitter, and I've
which is
gotten,
why I love you.
I've gotten bad. I've gotten some hate. I've definitely got some hate, mainly in the DMs. Um, Mostly
Ooh, do
because
tell.
yeah, because it's like I would get the oh, I guess the Russian propaganda got to you too, or go fuck yourself, you Russian shill. I'm like, dude, I'm like, I'm the last dude that would ever go like to be involved in anything Russian. But you know, because I used to do, I used to do martial arts. Um, and I used to, and part of that is just is respect your enemy, like respect your enemies, right? You respect your enemies, you respect what they're capable of, and that's something that I kind of live by. I mean, it's very it's one of those things where uh, I would rather be right and get hate than be loved and just follow the fucking group think, like and I'm seeing a lot of group think right now. A lot,
Oh yeah.
a lot, lot of like, oh, I stand with Ukraine. I'm like, no, 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 don't get me wrong. Okay. I'm against what Putin did. I'm against like war in general. Like I don't like war at all. Like
Right. Well, just to give people, I guess, benefit of the doubt. I mean, because I've seen a lot of "I stand with Ukraine," tweets too, and I mean, I think in general, like for me personally, I support Ukraine, and I guess in like a weird way, even though I can't stand technically, I guess I could say, I stand with Ukraine as well, but I don't necessarily believe that means that we should go over there and fight
mhm.
with them because I don't think it's really our business, and I think it's entirely possible to want to, you know, stand in like solidarity, in terms of like showing support, but not doing it militarily, if that makes
Well, yeah,
sense.
I don't think we'll be going militarily at all. Like that would I feel like to go into like to go into Ukraine, which is essentially Russia's backyard. You're not going to go into Russia's backyard and take it to Russia like in that facet. That's damn near a suicide mission. But like if you're trying to go in the offensive, like you're trying to just move Russia in a particular direction, I'm not sure that that's a recipe for success at all. But I don't. I mean, I don't stand with Ukraine. I don't stand with Russia. I'm just anti-war. Like
Yeah.
for the both of those sides. Like and I feel like both sides have a legit gripe, and both sides are wrong in some ways. I mean, it depends on. I mean, who's right? Really, ultimately, it depends on who you ask. You could have one side that's like, well, we had our independent, we want to be autonomous from Russia. We want our independence. You know, and then you have the other side that's like, well, the Ukraine's just as bad. You could do it on both sides. Like for the last 8 years, Russia's had a gripe of saying, hey, Ukraine has been bombing us and pushing us out of Ukraine and pushing us out of our homes. And like, they're bombing schools, they're bombing hospitals, they're bombing and they've been doing it for the last 8 years. And then you know, and then you have the Ukrainian side, they're getting, you know, apparently they're getting bombed too. And it's like, I don't know. They're both. It feels like just they're both wrong. They're both right in some ways. They're both wrong in some ways. And it's like just go to the table. Just work it out. Like
Right.
just it doesn't make sense to just like fight for. Like, what are you fighting for? Like, what are you fighting for? Just like, and it's about this, and it's about this piece of land that, like, do we really give a shit at this point? Like, I don't know. Just let the pro-Russian people have their fucking land, and then you could still have all your land because damn good. Like, if Ukraine, you have to be honest with yourself. If you're going up against Russia, you're fucked. Like, I mean, and yes, and I will give credit to Ukraine, the Ukrainian forces for handling for doing a fairly decent job of sticking it out, and but I mean, and of course, you're hearing it in Fox News and all that stuff, and it's like, oh, they're the will of the Ukrainian forces and all that stuff, and they're right. That should be admired, and President Zelensky, and of course. But let's be real, this is Russia we're fucking talking about here. And they're not even at a tenth of their military size. And they haven't even begun. Like, they just started pushing the Chechenian troops in there, and like the fucking the major special forces troops over there. Like, they're not even full flexing it yet. Like, I'm like, just go to the table. Go to the table, work out something. It can't be that damn difficult.
Well, yeah, and I mean, from my point of view, I agree with what you're saying. It's interesting as far as you being anti-war. I think that's interesting because obviously you're a veteran and you've been in war. I don't know if you've seen. I mean, I don't know. Did you see combat at all? I guess I've never really asked you.
I was. I mean, there was a couple of times where I was. We could say I was close to death.
Wow.
And I mean, it's yeah. I mean, there was one time where I was crossing an airfield to get back to the main part of the base, and some mortars hit. And if I was even like a foot on the other side, I would probably be gone. Like, I probably would have been gone. So, I mean, but I feel like with the military, if you're going to use them, you better have a damn good, like there better be an awfully good fucking reason.
Right. And that's kind of my point. I have yet to hear someone explain in a coherent in an actual good reason why we need to get involved in this.
Here's out of all the research that I've done, out of all the sites, the websites, the social media sites, the news sites, all that stuff led me to at least one consensus one solid opinion. The Obama-Biden administration are 100% to blame for this fucking mess, right? And I'll tell you why. Yeah. 2014, they basically set up this like coup d'etat that upended the existing government, and then they had some puppet election that went on. Now you could say what you want about Yanukovych and like all the corruption that he had or whatever, but then they went and did the coup d'etat and then put Petro Poroshenko in, and he really wasn't like much better. Like, he had his fucking corrupt shit too, and not only that, like two months into Poroshenko's administration, what happened? Burisma happened with fucking Hunter Biden and all that shit. So like this whole thing smelled, and it smelled of Obama Biden shit. Like, it really did. And
Well, and the other thing is, I mean, people on Twitter were sort of, at least on my timeline, some people were sort of joking and saying that, oh, well, Biden's interested in this because Hunter was, laundering money through Ukraine, tee hee tee hee. And it's like, well, yeah, that's kind of funny, but also, I mean, maybe there is some validity
I think there could
to
be.
that.
I think there could be.
Yeah,
I think it's like you had Hunter Biden and you had this whole mess going on. And you can't help when you do that much, when you look at it that much, you can't help but think, what else is there? Right? Who else is there? Like what, like, because it's just like eh, with Obama,
yeah.
with it's all Democrat Party shit like that's that's going on over there. All the shady shit that you see is like, yeah, I mean, and of course, the only thing that I really saw was like, Paul Manafort was like, he was lobbying for one of the presidential candidates or whatever, and that wasn't even really that big of a, it wasn't really that big of a thing, but like, we've all heard the Hunter Biden stuff. Like we've all heard the shady dealings of the Hunter Biden stuff, and it's like, well,
Oh, brother, we've only heard 1/4 of the shady dealings
oh
that
yeah,
went on.
oh I'm
I
sure,
mean, yeah, I mean, there's probably shit with Hunter Biden, and not just with Hunter.
but yeah, and it's it matters because it's like
Okay, okay,
not a
that was weird.
what what
I
what
think
happened.
that was weird. We kind of cut off for a sec, but then it refreshed. So yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, you were saying, I think Biden might be trying to shut this stream down. Um. Anyway, you were saying though.
Yeah. Yeah, but like it's crazy, like with Biden, like with the whole thing that the Hunter thing was happening while Biden was vice president. It's like, how are you gonna, like, and they're like, oh, there was no wrongdoing or whatever. Like, how the fuck do you how do you connect those dots? Like, yeah, you should. It's, I don't know, and it's like, and you at that time Ukraine was like the perfect territory to set up a money laundering scheme too, because it wasn't it wasn't in EU, it wasn't in NATO, it was war torn. There was like revolutions up the wazoo. Like it was a perfect, like nobody was gonna, if you set up a shop like that, nobody was gonna think twice, nobody was gonna look in that direction. And like, oh my god. And look at what happened when Trump was in office 4 years, and you didn't really hear a fucking peep. And then as soon as Biden stole the election, it was like, oh, we're damn
Well,
near World War III.
yeah. Well, here's what I find funny about. I mean, there are lots of things about Trump's presidency that, like, when he was president, I found hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Now that he's out of office, and hindsight is 2020, Trump's president is even more hilarious to me in the sense that, like, okay, so if you followed the narrative of the corporate press, you would have thought, oh my god, Trump's going to get us into war like every year. It's going to be a disaster. Nope, no wars. I mean,
Mm-mm.
Trump. I mean, I'm only 20. I'm only 27. So granted, I haven't been around that long. But Trump is the only president I can think of within my lifetime that hasn't gotten us into a major conflict. Not
Mm-hmm.
only that, but he's prevented some. And then, just to kind of add to things, um, like I said, he prevented conflicts, and he more or less deterred war. And meanwhile, like Biden gets in, and right, what is the first thing that he does? He completely botches the Afghanistan withdrawal, and and actually winds up giving like ISIS and the Taliban like more, basically control of that region.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Putin saw that we have a doddering old man. And let's say that let's say that Putin is evil. Let's go down that road. I'm not saying he is, but like if I were an evil madman and I saw that the United States were being helmed by this, by Grandpa Munster, hell, I I would be swinging my dick around, and
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, it just Biden is just so feckless as a world leader. He fell asleep at his first meeting with Putin, literally,
Yeah.
and the media wants to suppress those clips.
Yeah. It's absolutely. I, when this whole thing was going down, watching Biden, um, the first thing I was reading some of the comments. The first thing he did was kill the pipeline, as I recall. Yeah, yeah, he killed the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, right?
Yeah,
Nixed that shit, and then Joe Dementia Joe was like, whatever. Yeah, what's the harm? What's the harm? And like, yo, you shut down your own pipeline and then you fucking open theirs. Like, what the shit? Oh my
yeah,
god.
yeah. Not to Europe. And I know that Oki says you forgot Billy Boy in the Balkan conflict. So Russia could build oil pipelines uh, to uh, to Europe.
Mhm.
Do you mean Bill Clinton, Slick Willie? Is that something that he did?
Yeah, I think that was like the initial. I think he might have been the initial guy that was in talks to do that shit because the Clintons and the Russians were actually kind of
Oh,
uh,
I know they
good.
were
They,
chummy.
yeah, they were chummy, and
That
uh,
I mean that's the other thing. Everyone wants to call everyone wants to call Trump, a Biden dick sucker. But it's like if you look historically, if anything, Hillary Clinton, who was accusing Trump of, of sucking up to Russia, she
mhm.
was the one who actually had back. I mean, hell, she had back channels, with Russia.
Mm,
You know?
yeah, it's like the the Obama Biden administration is so culpable in all of this shit. Like, and it was like that coup d'etat, that 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 area, Ukraine was always kind of like mixed. Like they were kind of very divided anyway. You had your pro Russia, your anti Russia, and then when that coup d'etat happened in 2014, it just like it blew everything all to hell. Like it was, and then they put in they put in this guy that was like very pro EU, whatever, and all they did was just bomb the shit out of the Russian side of Ukraine and just push them back. Many of those people had to actually seek asylum in Russia, and then like for the people that stayed, you know they get bombed, they get bombed, shelled, whatever, and it's like, and they had to put up with that, and the pro Russian people, they got they got shelled for like 8 fucking years. So it's like I don't know. It's very. Everybody has like a gripe. Like both sides have a gripe. Both sides are wrong. I mean, I'm like, I don't. I don't know. I don't know, man.
Yeah, it's certainly tough. But one thing I do know is that our one of our longtime viewers slash listeners, What Sandwich, she always says that we ought to repeal the 19th Amendment. And it's kind of a running meme that we've had on the show, repeal the 19th. And at first I thought that she was kind of exaggerating about that. But holy shit, I think she might actually be onto something here because I don't know if you've seen this, Phil, but there is some sketchy broad on Twitter. Now let me pull this up actually, because I want to make sure that you can see this too. Yes, fell in a meadow. I mean, you were right all along. We should repeal the 19th, and I have proof of this. So, um, apparently there's this chick named Anna Lynn McCord,
Mm-hmm.
and she says that she's like a well, I don't know. Can you see? Is it showing on the screen for you?
I don't see it particularly. Let me.
Okay. Oh, let me pull it up. Okay. Okay, it should be there now. Okay, so her name is Erica Lynn
Okay,
McCord,
yeah,
and apparently she's like some sort of human rights trafficking
yeah.
activist. I have no idea who she is. Oh,
Oh,
perfect.
yeah, no, yeah, no. I know who she is.
Oh,
Holy shit!
perfect.
Yeah, no, because I mentioned because
Apex
she had
Gamma
that
is here
video. If I
too.
was your mother, right? The one. If I was your mother.
Yes, yes. We're
Yeah,
we're
yeah. And I
we're we're,
commented on that. You didn't see
we're
my comment? I
no,
was like, "Yeah,
we're good. Well, don't spoil it because we're
yeah,
we're
okay,
gonna go through
all right, go
this
ahead."
because
Yeah.
I want. And by the way, good evening, Apex. You came in at the right time.
Hello, boys.
Hey, how's it going?
Um,
Oh, sorry I'm late, everybody. It was a little longer evening than I expected. Can I sound okay, by the way? I fixed
Yeah.
my mic.
you
Okay,
you
good.
s- you sound way better than last week.
Good,
So,
okay. Well, I adjusted, so we're good.
but Apex so real quick before we get on to this crazy woman, uh, do you have any thoughts in general on Ukraine, Apex, that you just want to?
Um, sorry.
COVID.
No, as usual, I'm smoking weed on mic. Um,
Nice.
I don't know how this stupid thing works, and I want to start clicking buttons and fuck things up. But yeah, no, my general thoughts are just that I don't trust anything, you know. I don't trust anything that we're hearing about this shit. I don't think we're gonna know the truth. I don't buy. I'm not on Ukraine's side, and I'm not on Russia's side. I mean, I'm
Z-
on the innocent. If anything, I'm on the innocent people's side.
Yeah.
Yep.
But this whole Ukraine Russia thing, I guess if I had to pick a government side to be on, it's probably Russia, honestly. But that's just me.
Ooh, controversial words. I mean, hell, I I would say something. My controversial take is that we have no business being in there. What the
Well, we're not. But some of you may or may not remember that President Trump, when he was still in office, was trying to draw everyone's attention to the Biden family and their ties in Ukraine and how they might be
Yep.
currying political favor via financial dealings. And now here we are. So anyway,
But anyway, Apex. Also, I just want to also say that I know that you're a fan of Mr. Medicare, and I'm a fan of Mr. Medicare, and I know that Medicare doesn't do politics, but I must say, I think he's been one of the most reliable sources on this whole Ukraine thing. It's been hilarious.
well, and it's not Medicare's just a big name, but that's where you're going to get most of this information from. It's people, and it's not always reliable, but Medicare has a network of people that have, that are either fans or friends of his that have been scouring the internet for decades and know how to vet information and shit like that. So
Anyway, though, I'm sure Apex, you've seen this, but there's some thought that's like a human rights person, and she thinks that she's going to prevent war with Russia. I think
the one that thinks that she could have.
Yeah,
If
if she was Putin's mother.
Yeah.
So
before our eyes, a pure demise. Dear President Vladimir Putin, I'm so sorry.
We killed the
that I was not your
19th.
mother. If I was your mother, you would have been so loved, held in the arms of joyous light. Never would this story's plight the world unfurled before our eyes, a pure demise of nations sitting peaceful under a night sky. If I was your mother, the world would have been warm. So much laughter and joy. And
He's old
nothing
enough
would
to be
have
your
harmed. I can't
grandfather.
imagine the stain, the soul-stealing pain that the little boy you must have seen and believed, and the formulation of thought quickly taught
Pause it for a second.
that you lived in a
Yeah.
cruel.
This is what a liberal arts degree will get you.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm sure, listen, I'm sure she believes all this fancy lovey-dovey bullshit that she's saying. And that's great. Good for her. But it is delusion. And I mean, most beliefs are to outside people, She may literally believe what she's saying. But I'm just saying this is what, the modern liberal arts type of people, that's what they all think. They all live in this fucking world, in that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Of fucking unicorns and rainbows.
I mean, on the plus side, she's not bad. She's not bad looking. The problem is when she opens her mouth, it's just cringe.
Yeah. Yeah. If I was her mother, well, first I would be a terrible looking mother. I would be ugly as fuck. But anyway, if I was her mother, I would make an exception, and I would have one of those New York abortions that were like after once the baby came out. Like I would be like, yeah, all right.
Yeah, the fourth trimester abortion.
Yeah, the fourth trimester, one of those abortions.
Anyway, go ahead, Sammy.
Yeah, she and I love the fact that I mean I get that it's Twitter and that people are scrolling by, but I love the fact that she has subtitles on this too. Just so
That's the other thing. That's the other thing.
The vanity.
I was literally thinking that this could be a troll. I don't know. I mean, I've not looked at her account. I don't know. Maybe she's 100% serious, but I genuinely don't take anything seriously anybody does on the internet. That's why I just laugh at everything. I don't think anyone. I try not to think anyone's being serious ever.
Well,
and it makes it a lot more fun.
Well, yeah, and to your point, Apex, like she has like one of those check marks, right? But But I mean, I did not know who this bitch was until like 2 days ago when this video got posted, and no one. I mean, did you know who she was? I don't know. I don't know anyone who knew
I was
who
I
she
was looking
was.
up I was looking up some of her the filmography or whatever, just for shits and giggles.
Is she an actress or
Yeah,
what?
she's definitely an actress. She was in have you seen Transporter 2? The second one?
Yeah.
Okay. So in the beginning of the movie, there's like they were trying to steal his car, and he kicks everybody's ass and then turns the car on and drives away. The chick that baited him into the carjacking,
That's her, this
that's
bitch.
this chick. Yeah.
Well, that's the
Oh.
other thing. That's the other thing is if like, I mean, it's everything on the internet is clout. There's like no such thing as bad. Like, there's no such thing as bad publicity, kind of thing.
Mhm.
So, like for every one of us that are like, look at this fucking cringy dumb bitch, there is equal or greater number of internet users that are like, yes, fucking queen, and they mean it, and that they have filed this bitch. We've both groups have filed this bitch in our heads now, both
Yeah.
positive and negative. You know what I mean? So it doesn't matter how you go viral or why. Broadly speaking, of course, there are the Christians of the world and lots of them, but yeah, she didn't say like that one bitch. Yeah, I'm sure you guys remember, and surely the audience does. But they don't make erasers for your heart because they don't make. Oh fuck! What was it? Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah. The
They don't make
right.
erasers for your heart because you're not a mistake. Something about your feelings aren't a mistake. And it was like
Yeah.
super sincere, and she just got memed into oblivion. That was an early
Well.
It
victim.
just
But
the video just reminded me of like the Imagine,
mhm.
where all those fucking celebrities were singing that
Please
Imagine.
look at me.
But
Yeah, what
I'm important.
yeah. But
yeah.
I mean, at least. At the very least, at least people knew who all those people were. And look, and
What
like
no this is that the meme, what no attention does to a motherfucker. Like, or what no pussy does to a motherfucker, but what no attention does to a motherfucker.
Mhm.
yeah, well, I mean, when it comes to Gal Gadot, I mean, you guys know how I feel about the Israel the the Israelis. So,
Dude, I love oh, never mind. I'm not gonna go into it.
uh, were you gonna say
Yeah,
something? I
Gal
think.
Gadot. I think I'm pretty sure it was Gal Gadot, and I'm maybe piecing things together in my head or different memories. But some interview she did during one of the Star Wars movies, where she was asked about if she thinks her position in the film industry is about has anything to do with white privilege, and she just earnestly and sincerely is like, "What are you talking about? What is what do you mean? This bitch went to like the richest fucking acting schools. If there is white privilege, she's the type of bitch that has it." And she's like,
Yeah.
what do you mean? I'm not even sure what that is." Kind of it's
Oh,
the
you're
memory pops
talking
in
about
my head.
Daisy
That's
Ridley.
Daisy Ridley. Damn it. Okay,
Mhm.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I guess this chick did a. I was scrolling down I was scrolling down her timeline. Apparently, there's one for George Floyd too.
Mhm.
One
Oh,
of these.
shout out to George Floyd, or at least a
I'm just
recreation of
Floyd.
him. Oh, go ahead. Never mind. Go
Wait.
ahead. I
What
was
were
just
you gonna
gonna give a
say?
shout out. Gonna give a shout out to Tiny Bird Productions, who I don't even know what this means, but he won some sort of NFT contest on Twitter where he like drew the Floydy NFTs. He drew a George Floyd NFT and won some sort of thing. So I think they're gonna sell his NFT, and he's
Are
probably gonna make a bunch of money.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious.
That is that is genius.
I'll send you the tweet. Go ahead, play.
Okay.
Is this why you now decide no one will get the best of you? Is this why you do not hide nor away shy from taking back the world? Was it because so early in life, all that strife racked your little body with fear? If I was your mother, if the world was cold, I'd have died to make you warm. I'd have died to protect you
I wish
from
you
the
would've.
unjust,
I wish
the
you would.
violence, the terror, the uncertainty. I would have died to give you life. Oh, dear Mr. President Putin, if only I'd been your mother.
God.
Perhaps the torture of unwrit youth would not within your heart imbue a scription to such fealty against that world that you thought was so cruel. Perhaps you
I'm
Yeah,
I
go
I'm
ahead. Go ahead.
I'm trying to picture like Putin watching this. Like imagine that he actually like I don't know why he would watch this, but let's just say that he does. The only two things I can think is Putin would either be like, I want I want to fuck her, or I want to kill her. One of the it would either be one of those two things.
Who is this slut? Why is she not prostitute?
Well, hold on. And it's funny because this woman is like, I don't know if she has writers or if she did this all herself, but she's clearly like, there's some effort put into this. You know what I mean? Like there is
Yeah.
some comprehensive word, sentence structure. It's poetic in its nature, but it's, again, it's all for one thing, which is attention. It's not put to good use like the finest artist of our entire existence. All of them were pursuant of one thing, or at the feet of one thing, and that was the Christian God, generally speaking.
Yeah.
The pursuit of perfection in their art, both poetry and all of it,
Well, and
architectural and shit like that.
yeah, well, and the other thing is, I mean, this is clearly scripted. I mean,
She wrote this down. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that's what I mean. She put effort into this, and that's the one thing above all else that bothers me about this kind of shit is, I don't think she's necessarily talented. This isn't a moving thing that she's saying, but she clearly has some creative ability,
Yeah.
artistic ability that could be, God only knows what beautiful things she could actually create, be it poetry, art, or whatever. Acting, who knows?
I mean, the only reason I bring up that this is scripted is you're saying what bothers me is the idiots who legit think that she did this off the cuff, and it's like, no, it's
I don't
clear.
see, Sammy.
that
Those
this
people are
is-
retarded, and those are the ones you
Oh
don't make
yeah,
friends
but
with, and you just
oh
laugh at.
oh yeah, oh yeah. Believe me, I know that there are legit retards out there, but the problem is there are a lot of them out there too.
Yes, there are. Welcome to the world, buddy.
Oh yeah, I mean I've
hold dear
known
human
this.
life,
It
and on
just
this night,
baffles me.
instead of Mother Russia, you would call me, and I would set your mind quite free with the love
I'll call
that
you.
only
I'll
a
call
mother
you
can
mommy.
give, and only a mother can take away. When holds she doesn't the harm at bay and leaves her boy for the promise of a man. Whatever your story, Mr. President Putin, I can't imagine how it feels in your heart, but I know if I was your mother, that would be a start towards the awareness of what a powerful being of light you could be if your mind was only free from the violence you've seen. When
Wow, she just said my point about Putin, but she said my point to Putin, but about her. Oh, what creature of light you could be if only you weren't so fucking retarded and caught up in this evil fucking stupid game that you're playing here.
Yeah.
That was interesting. I've never made it this far. Honestly, I've never made it this far into her video.
Oh really?
Mm-mm.
I cannot believe I was born too late in a different place when I would have loved you so. Watched you play wherever you go.
What? Yo, hey, how the look? she wants did she say she would have loved to have been born in the time where she could have been his mom? Wait, how
She
old
would
was
have
fucking
died.
Sunan? How
Yeah,
old
she would have died.
Yeah, she would have died.
She would have been beaten and raped on a regular basis, man.
He
What the
was
fuck
he
is
was
she
in
gonna-
the secret police during the Cold War, or like whatever
Yeah.
fucking secret police during the Cold War, and he was in
Yeah.
his fucking like late 20s.
Women didn't have rights back then, okay? Like, yeah,
They still don't in a lot of ways over there.
yeah, but
No, I don't know about that.
if you do not graduate, you will become prostitute.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I mean, she. At first, I thought that this was a troll, and then I'm like, no, wait, there actually are women that are this stupid. So again,
I'm not convinced that it's not, because again, her level of theatrics, the way she's reading this, she's reading it like she's doing a part,
yeah,
or like reading for a part in a movie or something. It's all the emotion, she's probably rehearsed it, recorded it probably a dozen fucking times, just to get it all in one.
let me see if
Dear
I can.
President Vladimir Putin.
Shut up, bitch. Let me see if I can find the. Oh yeah, there are a bunch of parodies of this, but no, someone Oh my God! Here's the best one. Choose your fighter. I don't know. I don't know if you can
Which way, Western man?
Yeah.
To the draft line.
There is Oh, I just found it. Someone reposted the one that she did for George Floyd, or I guess
Hi, Lorelai.
what's his face? Oh, Laura is here, right?
Lorelai dropping a heart in the chat. What's up, girl? And Saucin too.
What's
Saucin
up?
down there.
What's up,
All my
Saucin?
friends.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting that we're talking out
Dumb bitches and then dumb
dumb
bitches end up in the
bitches,
chat.
right as our very smart lady friend.
Very smart and very funny and very masculine and physically capable and not at all dumb.
Yeah. So apparently this is the one that she did for I guess Derek Chauvin.
Oh, you
a
got a
couple
donation,
years
Sammy,
ago.
by the way.
Oh shoot, we got donos up in here. That's nice.
Mr. Keck Bowie.
Sweet.
Oh hey, shout out to Fat Keck Boy. Hail.
Fuck. Well, I'll be right. I got cats fighting. I'll be right.
Okay.
Awesome blossom.
Phil, anything you have to say?
Do I have to listen to this? Yeah. Just if I was your mother, like, oh my God. Please, for the love of God. That's like I think that should be our new waterboard, like waterboard torture, right? Lock them in a room and make them lock your POWs in a room and make them watch this shit. They'll tell you everything you need to know.
That might be a little too cruel.
She's like that. If I was your mother, I would be. Oh, I can't stand it no more. The troops are here, and here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Let me. Oh yeah. So Fat Keck Boy tipped $5 and
there you go.
And said, Sam, a reminder that this Tuesday, March 1st, is the 10-year anniversary of Andrew Breitbart's passing.
Oh.
Yes, Fat Cat Boy, I actually will be having a stream. I'm not sure if I'll be doing it on March 1st, but I will have an announcement hopefully within the next couple days regarding the 10th anniversary of Breitbart's passing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So
Hey, what is March? What is March dedicated to now? Since every goddamn fucking month has got to be somebody's month.
I mean, listen, Apex, I'm Irish, so for me, it's still the holiday of the drunken Irishman.
Oh, that's. I mean,
So
it's literally every month of the year.
It's
but
Homo Hobo Awareness Month.
March is.
That's right.
probably.
So is the gay? Is it gay pride?
Homo Hobo Awareness Month. You gotta be gay and a hobo. That'll be your
Is it,
month.
wait, when is Pride? When is Pride Month?
Pride Month is in June,
Ah,
isn't
okay.
it?
I just can't wait to bust out the fucking rainbow swastika again.
Oh shoot! We need to tell Phil. Okay, so
Phil's been following me since then.
yeah,
I'm sure,
Phil,
unless he's got me muted,
Yeah,
he's seen it.
Yep.
yeah. So Phil
Yeah,
knows.
I've seen it.
Well, so Phil knows. Obviously, Phil knows Jeff Hamill because, fortunately, Jeff was the one who introduced Phil and I. I don't know if you know that, Apex, but
For so, like, I was gonna make a Star Wars joke because I thought you said Mark Hamill, just because I heard Hamill in my brain just automatically, and then I remember there's somebody else. But yeah, anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, no, they're not related, but
Clearly.
they're both kind of social justice warriors. But anyway,
Nice.
so Phil, I invited.
Oh, that's right. Oh,
I I invited Jeff onto Whitfield and said, "Hey, I would love to
You
get."
invited Mark. You invited Mark, or no, Jeff. I'm sorry, because I'm Jeff.
Yeah, I invited Jeff onto the stream and said, "Hey, I would love to get a stream with you, Phil, and Sean, and I would also like to invite Apex." And Jeff replies me and says, no,
This
no
nigga
thanks."
refused. He says, "I will not be associated with people who promote swastikas or Nazi ideology, even if it's a joke." And all I could say was, "You sound fucking fun, dude. That's a shame. You sound like a really cool person. Really cool and fun. Like I could really have a lot of laughs with."
And
Very.
and also, I mean, poor Jeff's Twitter account was just Phil, trolling him half the time. I think so.
Well, no,
Right?
to be fair, it did kind of seem to end on a. It was almost like he was kidding. Maybe not. I don't know this guy, but by the end of it, he.
Well,
I don't remember how that all went.
well, Jeff, that's why you need to meet Apex, dude, because you need to get to know these people. So,
Again, maybe it's just my my nature, but I don't even when I'm telling the truth, I'm not being 100% serious. Most like 99.8% of the time. Go ahead.
By the way, speaking of Jeff and Soch 119, I find it incredibly rich that these people on the left are like they're branding people on the right as like Nazis and racists and all that stuff. But then they're standing with Ukraine, a fucking army that has actual Nazis, like actual white power fucking Nazis in it. Like the Azov battalion is literally a fucking battalion full of white power fucking Nazis. Like they got like matching black shirts and shit. Like,
well,
hold racism is a fashion statement for these fuckers.
All
like,
that needed
talking about?
All that needed to happen there was exactly what happened. Whereas CNN and MSNBC and shit reported that both Ukraine and Russia were calling each other Nazis, saying there's Nazis.
No, and
big bad
they
Putin
replied. I got replies for that. Well, like when I was pointing that shit out, and I had a picture of these guys on my Twitter page with all the like the racist, like the white power people. They got tattoos all over their bodies, black T-shirts, waving all kinds of
It looked like
crazy
American
flags.
History X
It
fucking
was
extras.
literally American History X. Like,
Yeah,
just,
exactly.
yeah, but it was crazy, and they were like, oh well, Russia has them too. I'm like, yeah, but America, but they're not getting American and EU money to fucking help fight. Like,
Yeah,
literally, the
does Russia
EU
have
the EU and the US are giving that, are paying them and arming them to fucking fight. Like that, like the absolute fucking it baffles my mind. Like, oh,
well, no,
you're gonna brand me and my friends fucking racist, white supremacists, all that shit, and then you're using my tax money to fund actual fucking Nazis. What the
The
fuck are you talking about?
well, that goes partially into what I was saying earlier about it. If there's a government that I, support in this thing, I don't know why they can't both be bad, but if I have to choose one, I sincerely think I fall more on Russia's
Yeah.
side
I mean,
because
now
I don't. Go ahead.
Russia has their shit too, so it's
Of course they fucking do.
Russia's rich too, because look, Vladimir Putin, when he was giving his speech of like before he decided to cross into Ukraine, he was like, "Oh, I'm going to demilitarize and denazificate
Nazify.
demilitarization and denazification." I'm like, yo, you might want to look in your own backyard, dude.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
'cause,
and
like,
that could have been a play towards the worldwide woke crowd,
well, I mean that, and well, when I remember when Barack Obama was president, and like it was his birthday, and a group of Russians had like a happy birthday, and they had like a monkey eating a banana, and it had a Barack Obama face on it. I'm like,
Oh
holy
my
shit,
fuck.
yo,
That's
they went
incredible.
all out.
yeah.
Well, I watched it's funny because thanks to the things I watch on YouTube, probably 2 weeks ago, it feels like 2 weeks ago, maybe it was a week ago or so. The not I think the channel is called Not What You Think, or Not What You Might Think or something like that. And it's like it's an industrial slash military, seems like mostly military channel, but they why would there was one that popped up in my timeline or on my feed in YouTube. Why would Russia invade Ukraine? And they brought up something that I've not seen mentioned anywhere. And I don't know if it's true because I am lazy and I don't do research. I just watch things and then repeat it. But it was talking about when Russia annexed Crimea back in 2014. Ukraine they dammed up this like several dozen kilometers long waterway and cut off water access to Crimea, you know. And it wasn't necessarily said that that was a primary reason, but it's just I don't even remember the reasonings behind Crimea. Why did Russia take Crimea again?
Well,
Do you guys remember?
well, Russia has a naval base there.
Mhm.
Like that's why. Like they've
Okay.
always had that Crimea base. That was always a base for Russia. And then when, and even before
Oh, it was a
the
NATO quote unquote territory or some shit, right? Or like
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And
what happened before the annexation of Crimea, right? In 2014, they had this exchange. The Ukrainians and the Russians had this weird exchange where they let Russia lease Crimea in exchange for like natural gas or oil or whatever. Like that was
right.
like a deal. It was tied to like a really shady deal with the prime minister with Gazprom, and I think she ended up going to fucking jail for that shit. But yeah,
See, and again, that's why I think they're both bad. I think
Yeah.
I don't
Oh,
think
they're
it's good
definitely
on
both bad.
either
Yeah.
side. But
Yeah.
I do not want the powers that run NATO and shit to get more of a foothold. I
Yeah.
guess is what it comes to. You know what I mean? That's what I guess that's what I think about. I'm like, well, I don't want people to die. I don't want Ukrainians to have to fucking leave Ukraine. Like, I don't want that, but I don't live there. I don't know
Yeah.
much about it. And
Mhm.
it's not, I can only speculate, but
Well, and thank you, Apex, because you just reminded me of my extremely controversial point, which is, I was listening to, and I don't even know how this happened, but I was searching the web the other day, and all of a sudden, without purposely going there, I wound up on Glenn Beck's website, and he had Bill O'Reilly on. And apparently, according to what O'Reilly says, if Russia attacks NATO, then we have to get involved. And
yeah.
my response to that is, fuck NATO. NATO hasn't done shit for us.
Well, that would see again, that would be the case a couple of years ago. And it was. Trump was telling NATO nations to fuck themselves.
Yeah.
Was he not?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, they weren't paid. They weren't paying their fair
Paying their
share.
dues. Right, exactly. Which is it's all a fucking it's all a big
I know.
fucking scam, dude.
But
And
yeah, like we had, I guess from the treaty, as far as the treaty goes, like the NATO treaty was like, if they do attack, then we have to participate, and because of the treaty. But I mean, I don't. I mean, let's be real. The U.S. has betrayed a lot of fucking treaty deals. Like, look at NATO, right? NATO itself. Part of Russia's legit gripe is when NATO was formed, they weren't supposed to expand. They've
yeah,
expanded NATO multiple
and
times
continue to
since
can
then.
continue to
Yeah.
try to do so.
yeah.
And they tried to open the door for Ukraine, even though Ukraine said they didn't want to join NATO. The EU, the rest of the NATO countries were like, no, we don't want NATO to join either. It was the US that was like, well, we're not going to close the door. Like, yo, you just pissed them off. You just pissed Russia off by making that fucking statement. Like,
I mean, we would have a lot more. We would have a lot more to lose. I mean, we would have a shit ton to lose if we got involved in this conflict. And I'm not so sure that Russia wouldn't launch cyber attacks and whatnot against us. So
yeah, I mean, you can't, and the worst part about it is, like, the Biden administration, who's completely fucked up this whole process. They only started like progressive sanctions. Like, it was like, okay, well, we're gonna do first round of sanctions. We're gonna, strip you of your ability to buy stuff and all that stuff. And then the next time, and like Putin, once Putin stopped giving a shit, it was like, all right, now we're gonna have another round of sanctions. Okay. Now we're gonna close you and your family and all that stuff. And
we
then it
don't
was
even.
like, and then the next time it was like, okay, here we go. We're going to do some more sanctions. And if you keep messing up, we're going to do some more sanctions. It's like, how first off, you're already sanctioning this country. Like, clearly they don't give a shit, right? Russia doesn't give a flying fuck about your sanctions. They're like, oh, we're going to kick you out of SWIFT. They don't give a fuck about SWIFT. Like, they're like, oh, we'll create our own shit. We have, like, Russia has India, Russia has China, Russia has all these other countries that are still willing to do business with them. And I'm willing to bet even a lot of the European countries are still going to do business with them. They're like, go fuck yourself.
Well, the other thing too, and I was talking to my mom about this today, because, like, Biden, I believe it was yesterday, even admitted, well, we knew the sanctions weren't going to do anything, and it's like,
yeah, that pissed me off too.
it's
That
like,
pissed me off too. He's like, well, we knew it wasn't really going to do much. And it's like, well, we'll see you in a month. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
well,
A
and
month?
it's
is going to fall within a week. Like, what are you talking about?
well, and it's also like, if you knew they weren't going to do shit, then why do them at all, motherfucker? You know?
Look, like this, the month thing. The month thing really chafed my ass because, like, I think it was like, well, we'll see in about a month or so. We'll see what kind of effects these sanctions are gonna have. I'm like, yo, yeah, Putin is gonna fucking butt fuck Zelensky's corpse within a couple weeks. He doesn't have a month, right? Are you kidding me?
Did you see though? I've got to give I do have to give Zelensky credit because I guess the U.S. like reached out to him and offered him like asylum or something, and he basically said, "Fuck that! Like, fuck giving me a transport. Like, give me ammunition."
Are you talking about Zelensky, the president of Ukraine?
Yeah.
Okay, I have a fun little fact for you guys here.
Mm-hmm.
The Ukrainian billionaire who is also Jewish, who has a Shark Tank in his office to intimidate visitors, who financed the Azov battalion and offered $10,000 per head to kill "quote unquote" Moscows, is the same man who put the current Ukrainian president in power.
Mm-hmm.
And there is an article here titled, "Is this the most powerful Jewish man in the world?" Igor Kolomoisky. There's a little clip here where he's lightheartedly apologizing for the MH17 downing. Called it a trifle. Sorry about MH17, but it's a trifle. So yeah, again, yeah, go fight in the street. But when you're backed by the most powerful people on the planet, on multi levels, you've got your countrymen, your industry has got the White House in our country. That's documented basically.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you've got Jewish billionaires financing the Azov. I don't know if that's the white supremacist one, but it's a battalion.
That would be hilarious in a way if a Jewish billionaire were funding like a legit Nazi.
Oh, Sammy, I have some internet research for you, buddy. They basically are all Jewishly funded.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me. I'm just saying it wouldn't surprise me at all. I'm not saying that. I will
say context matters though. Like, look, in the global, in the world scheme of things, well, from that billionaire Jewish standpoint or whatever, like I get it. But from a world standpoint, okay, I respect him because like he could leave or he could hide or he could be in a bunker and yet he's not. Whereas you got in Canada, you have some douchebag that fucking books the country because some truckers are honking outside of his house. Like, are you like, so in that respect, I'm like, well,
yeah.
I can't do.
Yeah, well, and also thank you for bringing that up too, because Apex and I were talking about the whole Canada thing just last week, and look, I'm into conspiracy theories, but I never thought I would go down this at all. But it is awfully convenient that the Russia thing, right, Russia and Ukraine, it's interesting to me that happens as soon as Trudeau basically goes full North Korea on his own country. It's like, don't pay attention to the Canadians getting oppressed. Here's this thing over here that we want you to pay attention to.
Yeah, I don't really buy that either, man. Like, I mean, yeah, I see what you're saying, but it doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like that. It does what it feels like is whatever's going on over there in Eastern Europe is gonna be too much for the Western audience on top of COVID. And the
Yeah.
people that pull our strings know that. So round I'm not I'm not even smoking.
You
Sorry.
got that COVID there.
No, dry throat. No, but fuck. Man, I just coughed too many times. I forgot what I was saying.
You were saying that you don't think that you
Oh,
don't
it,
think
yeah,
it's
it wasn't a calculated move to like do one and then the other. I mean, it was calculated in the sense that okay, well,
I mean,
looks
it
like
might it might not be, but I'm just saying nothing is out of the realm of possibility anymore.
it has. I mean, listen, it has to be to live your life like a normal fucking person and not go crazy. Some things have to be out of your realm of possibility. You have to just either accept you don't fucking know, like everything's out of the realm of possibility, and you're just gonna stay in your bubble, or it's you can't worry about every possible angle, and it's
Right.
a problem people have nowadays. But no, that was just a sidebar. But no, I mean, it just doesn't feel to me. Again, I just think that we're too fucking brain dead over here as a population for us to be oppressed in that many ways all at the same time. They need us to support Ukraine as a mass so that they can get the population behind that so they can defeat Russia or whatever the goal is there.
Yeah.
So they can't have us all masked up. We haven't wanted, even the people that have done it almost across the board don't want to, except for the weird fucks that are still wearing them. Those are the people, the ugly people and the sociopaths.
I do find it funny that they've basically ended mass restrictions, which, by the way,
across the board, like almost overnight.
They've ended mask restrictions, and now they're talking like warfare, and it's like, hey, I was never participating in the mask shit anyway. But also, fuck you guys very, very much.
I was reading a tweet earlier that was saying there's two news cycles going on in the world right now. Here in the West, here in the United States, and in like Canada and the UK and shit, it's all about Ukraine. It's shifted from COVID to the Ukraine, but in places like Singapore and Taiwan, well, maybe not Taiwan, but places further east, I guess, are still on the COVID bullshit and hyping all that up. They're not even really talking about it.
Oh, that explains. Okay, so I saw this meme today, and I don't remember where it is. Otherwise, I would pull it up. But I don't know if you you've seen it.
Right?
I don't know if you've seen. Yeah, very funny, fucker. I don't know if you've seen like the meme where all the other web browsers go like super fast, and then Internet Explorer is like 10 steps behind on whatever it is. So yeah, I saw one where it was like Singapore is the Internet Explorer of the world because they're still stuck on COVID or whatever. So
all right, I got to roll out because we're doing our the Versa thing. But
later,
great to talk to you guys.
Good to talk to you too.
Catch you later.
Check you later.
Yeah. Check you later, man.
I'll pop in there in a bit. But Phil, where
man? We can check you later. Who's this? Check you later.
Where can people find you on social media?
Yeah.
Also,
mainly Twitter. So mainly Twitter right now. I am on True Social, but that's not like, that's not developed as much as it should be yet. But yeah,
you actually got on there early.
Hell yeah,
which
man. I was
which I
stunned. I
can't
couldn't even.
believe.
All I did was continue to click until it finally gave me what I wanted. So that's like when they were like, when I kept getting that red banner, I just continued clicking until it went through. So persistence wins. All right,
I guess so.
all right.
But
Take care, guys.
all right, later.
Later, Philip.
All right. Now that loser is gone. No, just kidding.
Yeah, fucking loser. God, I hate that fucking nerd.
Anyway, though, so yeah, this whole I mean, I don't know, man. I think the funniest thing is just how the meme lords just keep making memes about all this. Like there's a certain percentage of the population that just doesn't give a shit, and I feel like you're one of those people. And I mean
Yeah.
that in a complimentary way. You're just like, let it all burn.
Yeah, it's not about money. Kind of thing, yeah. No, but I have another. It's a controversial take, but it's not really mine. But it's one that I agree with, and I don't have it verbatim, but it's Joshua Moon, owner and proprietor of the Kiwi Farms, put out something because he's lived in he had lived in Ukraine pretty publicly recently. I don't keep in touch. I don't pay attention to that shit. But he put up a.
Watch out! Merch is going to report him to the UN or something for war crimes.
Oh no,
Tink,
he's got.
Tink.
Yeah, no, trust me, he fights off a literal army, probably daily. The actual DDO, DDoS attack, but that's regardless. But something I wanted to warn you of, I guess, and it's not even really a warning, but the whole "let me save the Ukrainian women" meme.
Oh yeah, that
is it's not only cringe, but it's like it's kind of personality revealing. The kind, it's like the how can you exploit a crisis type of, or who was it? The Eric Holder said, "No, let no good crisis go to waste" type of thinking, and obviously people are memeing that. There's a lot of people that it's just a fucking joke, right?
Yeah, I mean, for me it is a meme kind of like, okay, if we're gonna be taking in refugees, let's take in these refugees.
Sure,
So.
yeah, of course. But yeah, there's a lot of powerful people with a lot of money that may do that, and there's people in Kiev and in surrounding regions in Ukraine that might want a free ticket to slavery, sexual slavery here in the United States.
What's funny about this is you're talking at the Save the Ukrainian women meme. Right as you said that, I pulled up this thing from the New York Post, which you might have seen. Let me pull it up here.
Yeah, dude, I'm not sure what you're pulling up, but I've seen so much propaganda. Like Fox put up some dudes, alleged Ukrainians, with plywood cutouts of AK-47s and like posted the picture on the news. Like they're like they're hiding behind a fence. Like they're taking cover with, wooden AKs.
Yeah.
And this is the other one.
Okay, so you did see this then.
Uh-huh.
So for those of you listening on audio, this is
Scroll down some.
Yeah, this is interesting. From the New York Post, former Miss Ukraine joins fight against Russian invasion.
Yeah. No, see, scroll back up some. We're gonna focus on that picture.
Anastasia Lena or whatever her name is.
Scroll down just a little bit more. All right, right there. Stop. Okay. So I don't know if the audience can see this. You might need to actually click on the picture. But the ejection port where cartridges come out, the spent cartridges, when the bullet goes out the barrel and the brass comes out, there's a little cover there that flips up and opens and closes. Well, it's
Right.
flipped open. And if you zoomed in on that that ejection port, it is a solid, it's a solid bolt. It's not an actual, what I'm getting at here is this is an airsoft rifle. And not only that, but that foregrip, that vertical foregrip on the right in front of the magazine there, Sammy, you're crippled and you would need that foregrip further forward than that. You would need to be 7 years old. Actually, there's no need for that grip. You could hold
Yeah.
onto the magazine well.
Yeah.
This is fake. This is 100% fake what you're
This-
looking at.
This
Not to
looks
mention
like
the rose gold fucking holographic site. I mean,
yeah, this I did see this and I was like, wait, is this one of those because like you'll see the hot like cosplayer girls that will like cosplay like Call of Duty or something like that, and
Sure.
I'm like this looks like a gamer chick that is like cosplaying Call of Duty or something like that.
Which to be fair, if it was a hot girl holding a real rifle, Sammy, with the makeup and shit, she would look like a hot girl cosplaying Call of Duty. But that is a fake ass gun.
Yeah.
And what is that plastic thing in front of the scope? What is that? And the fire control looks like it's cemented to the thing. Anyway, I'm not an Alan Powell weapons expert, but I guarantee you.
Well, Alan's probably lurking in the chat. Actually, knowing him, he just probably hasn't said anything because he likes to lurk in chat. Even though I've told him, Alan, you can say hello. I'm not Mersh. So, but yeah, I also love the fact that like she has no bulletproof vest on here either.
Well, and not to mention no other gear. I mean, there's
Yeah.
there's pads, there's all kinds of shit that soldiers wear, namely a helmet.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah,
regardless.
no
I don't
helmet.
know.
So I guess here's the story. A beauty queen and former Miss Grand Ukraine has apparently traded in her high heels for combat boots, joining the Ukrainian military in its push against the Russian invasion. Anastasia Lena, Ukraine's 2015 representative and blah 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 international beauty contest. Something about beauty contest. Everyone who crosses the Ukrainian border with the intent to invade will be killed, she said, one post made in English on Saturday, accompanied by a photo of armed soldiers blocking a roadway. Another post joked that our army is fighting in such a way that NATO should apply for entry into Ukraine. Okay.
And then another pretty picture. Yeah, fuck this shit, dude.
Yeah. So again, yeah, you're right. This is all of this. I mean, this is a meme.
It's propaganda, bro.
Yeah, it's a psyop.
Ooh, that's a different rifle. That's a different rifle for sure.
But again, I mean, I don't know. Okay, well here at least she's wearing knee pads though.
Well, yeah, that's a thing. That's something.
Okay, that's something, but I mean, still.
All right, well,
I don't know.
You've been going for an hour and a half. What do you want to do here? But go ahead, sorry, I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say she looks more like a Bond girl than anything else, but
She looks like she's she looks like she's cosplaying. I mean, you hit it right on the nail right on the
Yeah.
fucking head. Like, where's the dirt? If she's used those knee pads, why isn't there dirt on her pants or her shoes?
and look,
Or
I mean,
whatever.
and I mean, look, there are some very attractive women in the military. I'm not saying that doesn't exist, but you can tell.
Especially the Israeli army, huh?
Yeah. But you can you can tell when someone's actually been in combat, and this chick it ain't it. So
Well, look, not to say play devil's advocate. Let's say that they're getting her before she's even deployed, and they're doing all this fancy photo shoot shit, which I don't believe for a second. But let's say that's the case. There should be a whole fucking social media account dedicated to her. You know what I mean? Like, if her she should be carrying, if not a camera on her, she should have a crew, because she's rich and hot. They're putting all this time into her now, but it's because they're not doing that. It's just propaganda. It's just a different age of it. It's a new age that people are not as familiar with.
she's like, I guess you could say that, and granted this is going to be a dated reference, but like back in World War II they had the whole Rosie the Reverter, propaganda.
Well, they had going even further back. They had the yellow rose of Texas, which was a psyop of itself. Some fucking whore that they paid to betray that Mexican general. I can't remember his name. But anyway.
So, and this is just that. So, but anyway, I find it funny that like a week ago we were just talking about Canada, and not even a full week has passed, and already we're talking about like possibly war with Europe. It's
yeah,
or war with Russia. It's crazy.
Well, it's just
So.
we do a reactionary show here to what's live in the news.
Mm-hmm. The only thing that's disappointing is I haven't heard Cum Towns take on any of this. So
they probably won't give it.
Well, if they do, they'll probably make something.
If they do, it'll come out in 6 weeks.
If they do, it'll be Ukraine's gay or something like that.
Yeah.
But
anyway, why don't you go join the Versa Bros, man? There's nobody watching live. I know people still listen on the podcast version, so I don't want to cut them short, but I don't really have much else to say on matters right now.
Yeah. No, I was going to ask you, how have you been doing? What's been going on in your Twitter, your side of the internet?
Not a whole lot, man. To be honest with you. It's just a distraction. One that I need to put down, at least temporarily. Because, as you and the audience are all well aware, my life's a disaster. I still have a job, pretty good one. But,
well,
yeah, I'm just self-immolating with, little indulgences instead of taking the shit by the bootstraps.
You are covered in pussy though. So the furry kind though.
Oh, well, if only you knew, buddy.
That's true too.
Anyway, I love you, buddy, and I love you, chat. I love you, podcast listeners. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening, folks. And I don't think we have nothing left to cover. So thank you for tuning in. Same bat time, same bat channel next week. And thanks for watching. Good night, everyone.
See ya.
Thanks for listening to The Whitfield Report on the NGC Network. Please visit Sam's website at www.thesamwhitfield.com and support Sam on Patreon at patreon.com/Whitfield Report. Until next time, God
do a better
bless,
voiceover.
God save this great nation, and God, freedom, legacy, in that order.
In that order.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I told you, but I got those intros done like last year, and it just took me a while